So I've been out this weekend on the street campaigning, talking to people, Remainers, Brexiteers and what have you. One of the important questions that Remainers are asking is, how do we vote? I mean, the main thing is to vote, of course, but how do we vote? And I think there are three levels that one can consider. I mean, the first problem, I suppose, that you have to work out is, why are you voting at all? What are we trying to do? What is the goal? And there are several goals out there. One is to maximise the number of votes for Remain and don't worry about the seats. So that's what Tony Blair is talking about today when he talks about there will be a ledger, people that have voted Remain and others that have voted for Brexit parties. And I believe that's quite an important way of thinking about it, because it's quite clear that Farage has got a popular uprising. So we should be counting the votes. But there are some alternatives, and I know that not everyone agrees. So there's another way of doing this, and that's about counting the seats. And the third way of doing it, of course, is not worrying about either of those things and trying to stop Farage. In my view, I think that focusing on trying to stop Farage, although I've done some work to sort of divert Farage from his goal, focusing all our effort on a negative of trying to stop him is actually counterproductive. So of course I can't in this video say what you should do, but it occurs to me that you have to probably first of all to decide whether you want to just maximise the Remain vote, or to actually try and get more seats, more MEPs. I personally think that actually we should try and maximise the Remain vote, and that should be our metric for the election. Because that means we get more people out, we get more Remain votes, and politicians do listen to those things. So that's the first level of inquiry. I said the word Tony Blair, and I'm sure some people are spitting now, but never mind the man, play the ball, not the man. Because in George Michael's words, listen without prejudice, what Blair says on strategy about this is absolutely spot on. We should think about voting for Remain parties, and of course they are the Lib Dems, the Greens, the Independent Group, Plaid Cymru and the SNP, the Remain parties. Then, of course, there's the question of, once we've settled what our goal is, there's the question of rationality. Now, we can vote with our hearts or our asses, or with our heads. We can vote with intelligence. Without mentioning Cambridge Analytica, we can use intelligence and big data to come to a better conclusion about where to place this vote. So having decided what it is your goal is, the next level to go to is to use the available data out there to help inform your vote. And there are two particular sites I would mention in this regard. Having agreed with Tony Blair, I now want to agree with Gina Miller, because she's got she's backing a system out there called remainunited.org, if you look it up, and it will offer you the best data that we have. Hand on heart, data only takes you so far, but nonetheless, it will offer you some informed choices about what to do to vote for Remain in the coming weeks. And you have to wait almost till the last day, because obviously the data has to be fresh, because there's a campaign to happen. So you have to avoid what I call premature evaluation by thinking, I'll do this. Certainly if you want to think what you're going to do, that's fine. We all do that. We all make that premature evaluation. Please wait until the last day or two when the final best educated information will be there for you. So there's Gina's recommendation, remainunited.org, and there's another site which I think is very good, headed by Mark Alexander, called Remain Voter, which is remainvoter.com, and they're also using analytics and high levels of data to help you sort of work out where to best place your vote. Now, of course, intelligence isn't the only way to vote. We all have our preferences, and so the third level, of course, is, I'm going to again agree with Tony Blair here, there's irrationality in voting. Let's be honest, if you've always been a such and such a voter, you're probably going to ignore the intelligence. I can't make you work with intelligence. But of course, if you're going to vote with your own original preferences, Tony Blair actually outlines, because he's obviously a Labour Party member, and he says, obviously, I'll be loyal to the Labour Party. But he points out that there are the vast majority of the Labour Party, and many of the MEP candidates for the Labour Party are themselves strong Remainers. So if you must vote for a Brexit party, which currently Corbyn's Labour is, not Labour, but the Corbyn Labour Party, if you must vote for a Brexit party, then of course Blair's saying, well, that will happen and we can't stop you doing it. And how dare I even suggest that? But I think it's on three levels. Work out what you're trying to do. Maximise the ballot of the votes counted, or get seats. And they're different things, and depending on what the goal is, you may behave differently. I urge you to look at the data. I can't make you do it, and there are plenty of good recommendations out there, but I'm emphasising two: remainunited.org and remainvoter.com. And then, of course, well, if you will vote with your heart, because you've always done it that way, of course, I would follow the advice. But at this time, Corbyn's Labour remains sick a Brexit party. And so I couldn't, in all conscience, advise you to do that. But I also understand that tactical voting, is very much an affair of the heart. So that's my summary of the state of things as they are. I think we must delay our decision until the last day, if possible, because the situation will change. So what we think today is a long way away from 2 weeks away. But anyway, I'm encouraging you to vote with your head and your heart. But in any case, make sure you vote.